friends and creators from around the globe. Welcome to Hither and Jan Studio. And if you've been here before, welcome back. DJ here, and today we're in the studio working on our March mini junk journal. And all the details to get your free kit for March, which is what this is, are down in the description box below. It's free throughout the month of March 2024. There's over 30 pages, so go grab yours and play along. Off camera, I cut up my journal pages and I did some sewing and I inked, so you didn't have to sit through all that. And I didn't stitch them all, and you don't have to stitch any. But I kind of like the way it looked. I tried to put some paper lace on this one. I didn't like the way it looked. It's hung out too much, so I just folded it in, and that's fine. I am going to show you today. Oh, well, I did that. And then I cut out all the ephemera, which was a lot. It was a lot. I didn't realize I put so much in there, but I guess I did. You know, it was just a lot. When you're cutting it, it's even like more. And then all my words. And I took the white borders off these pages mostly. I have a couple back here I'm going to use for a cover front and back, so I left them alone. We're not going to use these today. We're going to work on assembling our journal today, which I would usually do at the end, but we're going to do it at the beginning because I think it makes sense to do so rather than fiddle. Well, you have to do it ahead of time because there's some aspects of it that are get incorporated into the journal. So it'll all make sense when we do it. But what I suggest you do is watch the video first and see if you like the way this is put together. It's a no-sew accordion binding. And when you do a no-sew, there's, you know, a lot of different ways to do it. This one's pretty simple, and I think it also allows us to add some fun inner pages to our journals, and maybe some things like pockets or some flippy ephemera. But it may bother you the way that this is done. When I first did it in a journal, I kind of I wasn't too keen on the way it looked inside the journal until I figured out that I could use that to my advantage. So this will all make sense after we've got it together. So let me put these papers away. I'm not going to use these today. We're just going to work on the binding. And again, just watch it through because it may not be for you. But yeah, and then you can just sew it. All right, so what I did was I folded all of my pages, and they are not put, you know, they're not like a normal journal where you would put one inside the other. They're behind each other, like so. Okay, and I'm using 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm using 5. I think I gave you guys 10, but you can make endless amounts, just flipping and printing them more than once. But however many pages you have in your journal, that's how many inches plus 1 that you'll need for your binding in the length of paper. So we're going to make a strip of paper, and then we're going to fold it into an accordion style, and then we're going to use it to put our journal together. Now my paper is 8.5 by 11, but it prints with this border, so I can't get a full 11 inches from here to here without getting that border, which I could just do. But I'm going to stick to 9 so that I only need 10 inches, and then I don't have to meld two pieces together. If you are doing a bigger journal, you're probably going to want to seam two pieces together. I'll show you what to do if that's the case and that's what you're doing. But in my case, I'm going to use 9 so that I only need a 10-inch piece of paper. Okay, so for every page, you're going to need 1 inch of paper, plus you're going to need a 1/2 inch on either side to attach to your cover. Okay, and your cover is going to need 2 pieces because if you want to hide the seam, well, I'm sorry, the flap that we're going to create, which I want to do. So let's get to it, right? It probably will make more sense as I'm doing it. I'm just jammering on and it means nothing. Okay, so this is what I'm deciding to use for my cover. I printed two because the size I want it a little larger than this, and I wasn't going to get two. I might be able to get it this way. Actually, I can get two. Okay. So I can do it if I do it that way. I want it just to be slightly bigger than my journal, but it is going to sit on the back. So the back is going to line up, and then I just want it a little bigger around the three sides so that my cover is just a little bigger than the pages inside. That's what I'm going for. And then for my binding, I think I'm just going to use this plain, the neutrals that I put in the kit. And when you're doing your binding, whatever side, so if you want two sides, or one of your sides is going to be white if you're not printing on both sides. And also, you don't have to use these. If you have like a black cardstock or a brown cardstock, that's, you know, on both sides it's cardstock color, the brown or black or whatever, then you're fine. But just keep in mind that one side is going to show on the outside and one side is going to show on the inside. And in this case, I'm just going to use this. Most of what's going on the inside, I'm going to end up covering up. But what's going to show on the outside, I want it to be a neutral color. Now, you could use one of these colored papers, and then that's what will show on the outside. Completely up to you. I'm going to cut my covers first. So let me get my trimmer. And let me cut off an end. Hope everybody's having a good week. Hope you're doing some fun crafty stuff. We had a beautiful yesterday, Sunday. Saturday rained all day. And I'm actually recording this the day it's going to go up. So you'll be seeing this on Monday. And we had a glorious Sunday here yesterday. It was almost 60 degrees in New York. It was sunny. My pooch was outside all day. She was in her glory. Oh, it was a lovely day. Today's pretty much the same, except it's a little cloudier, but warm. And now we're supposed to get rain for like 5 or 6 days, so who knows. Like I said, it's crazy everywhere. Oh, okay, I know why I did this way. I don't want to go this way because it's directional. So I cut 2 of these because I knew I wasn't going to get 2 that were bigger than my page. All right, so let me measure this and then I'll cut them both at the same time. I want it to be, let's go this way. It's easier to see the pencil. I want it to be just a hair bigger on 3 sides, right? Because the back, you'll see, is going to match up. So I'm going to go there, maybe there. I'm just going to come over a little here. All right, and then I'm going to cut them both at the same time to save time. And there. Okay, move these out of the way. I don't have to do my second piece yet. So as you can see, my cover will be just slightly bigger all the way around. Okay, like that. And I think I want to ink it. There is something in my vintage photo. Piece of paper. And just ink this around. I'm not going to sew my cover. I don't know what I'm going to do with my cover, but I have a fun little closure I think we can do. We'll show you that at the end. So that's that. I don't know what I'm doing for the inside yet, so bear with me. I know that it's probably like, what are you talking about? Just get to it. All right, so this is inked. So I have my front and back cover. We'll leave them over there for now. I don't need my pages just yet. Put this down here. All right, so now what we want to do, actually I need these, sorry. Your binding is going to go in the center here. And so what we're going to end up doing is cutting a piece of paper that is, you know, and it can vary. You don't have to have it a specific width, but you want it to have it probably at least a little more than a third. Yeah, a little, I'm going to go for like 3.5 inches or so, 3¼ inches. And this is approximately 5.5, no, it's a little shorter than that, like 5 3/8. So if I go 3.5, right, and it doesn't, you don't have to get real crazy with where you're positioning it unless you're, you know, that's your thing. So if I go 3.5 inches, it'll be from like here to about here or so, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to eyeball it to find my center first. And so what we want to do is just kind of tap this and get all of our pages even and where they want to be. And again, I want you to check to make sure everything is upright and it's in the order that you want. Okay, mine is. And now I'm just going to get a binder clip. And I'm going to clip these while I work because it'll just be easier. Okay. There we go. I want them pretty much even because we're going to write on them. And I don't want this. All right, I'm going to get a pencil and I'm going to about find my center. So I said it was 5 3/8, so I'm going to go 2.5 and I don't know, around here, 3/16. That's approximately my center. And I'm using a pencil so I can erase if I need to, but I'm drawing my New York where that center is to me. And then I'm going to line up my 3.5 with that center. So 3.5, we got 1 1/4, 1.5 is 3, 1 3/4 is 3.5. So if I put my ruler line at 1 3/4 on that center mark, am I still in order? Yes. All right, so you see there's 1 3/4 and I've lined it up with that center mark. I'm now going to see where that's going to put me with my 3.5. So let's see what it looks like. I'm just going to mark it and then I can erase it if I need to. All right, so you position it the way that you want. I'm going to go 3.5. So those are my lines. From there to there is 3.5. And now I'm going to cut this. Remember, I said I had 9 pages and I need 1 inch per page plus 1/2 inch on each side, so 10 inches by 3.5. That's what I'm cutting on my piece of paper here. So first I'll do the 10. Just open this up. My space is a little smaller today, so if I'm a little fiddly, that's why. Okay, so that's 10. And then I'm going to use this side. So I'll cut this off, and then I'm going to do 3.5. Okay. All right. 3.5 right there. And actually, I'm just going to go a smidge smaller than 3.5. I am going to go about 1/16 less than 3.5. And I'll tell you why after I get this all put together. What we're going to do is we're going to slice our pages from here to here. And when I fold this, I want to make sure it's going to fit in that spot. So I'm making it just a smidge smaller, just so I make sure that it's going to get in there once we do the slicing. And so that's why when we mark this, we want to make sure we're going to mark all of these across. And you can use a black, I don't know if that's coming through, but if you want to use something black, you can go ahead and do that. That's up to you. Just so you can see it better. But for now, let's fold this. What we want to do is we have it, I have it for 10 inches. So I'm going to first, we're going to score it at every 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to put it on here and then just start scoring it across at the 1/2 inch. This is my scoreboard, so I'm not cutting it. It scores and cuts. So every 1/2 inch, you just want to go ahead and put a score mark all the way across from end to end, okay? All right, so my scoring board, or this scoring wheel, started to eat my paper. So I had to get a new piece. But here I am. And so now I just want to accordion fold on those. And you don't want to crease it too hard, but you want to get a nice crisp crease as you go. Because you want to make sure that, you know, it kind of stays where it's supposed to stay. You don't want this to get all wonky. So if you're not using a scoreboard, make sure that everything you're folding is staying straight, because this is really going to regulate how your journal lays together. So you don't want it to get out of alignment as you're doing this step. Okay, and even if you score it, I'm seeing it, you know, it's just, it can get a little wonky. So just pay attention, and when you're folding, just make sure you're folding it nice and even. All right, when you're done, you should have, if you hold up your accordion so that these outer tabs are facing up, you should have as many peaks as you have pages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 peaks. I have 9 pages, so mine is correct. We're going to put that to the side. Get this out of the way. Now I'm going to pull this back in. And now for these, I'm just going to take my pot here. I'm going to take out the first one. It's a little hard to see, but you can kind of see where those marks are that we made when we put our pages like this. Okay. And I can see my center line, and you might not be able to see it so well, but I can see my center line, and I can see my 2 outer dots. So what we're going to do is we are going to cut from one outer dot to the other outer dot. And so I'm just going to take a straight edge, and I'm just going to measure this, make sure I'm at the right. Yes, I am. Just make sure I don't get out of whack. And I am going to slice the paper down from one dot to the next. Okay, and that is going to give you your 3.5 inch slit. Now, that's why I said if you want to use a black pen or something so you can see it better, go ahead and do that. Just so you don't lose your mark. You can always line up your ruler if you do. And if you go a little over, it's fine. Too much under and you might not be able to get your paper through, so a little over is fine. All right, I'm going to cut through the rest of mine, and then I will meet you back here. All right, I have now cut all of my pages. It's a little nerve-wracking. You don't want to, you know, cut through one and then you have to redo it. So, but it happens. So if it happens, just make another one. Okay, let's, we just keep moving on. Okay, so now I have these and I have my covers. It doesn't matter unless it matters to you, which is the back and which is the front. And what we want to do is take our front cover and our first page. We're going to take our accordion and we want to make sure that this is pointing up. So that if this was a W, so you want this end pointing up on both sides like this. And then you're going to take your first page and you're going to take this first peak, not this edge, but the peak that comes after it. And you are going to slide it into that slit we made, like so. And that's why we made it just slightly smaller, so that it can get through there and you're not kind of jamming it in. If you want to play like that, by all means, but I do not. Okay, so now that we have that first one in, now I want to line up my cover and see where I want that. I'm gonna, what we're gonna end up doing is gluing this to the cover, and you can do this one of two ways. So if you have both your front and back, right, like this, you can take not your front and back of your journal, but the front and back of your front cover, if you're going to do that. And take this one, which is going to be the inside, and put it on here and line it up like that, like how you want it, your journal. Okay. And then you can glue this flap to that. But I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. So what I'm going to do is line up my cover and glue it to the inside like this. Okay. And so I want to make sure this is inside all the way. And you just want to make sure your peak is in all the way like that. And then we want to line up our journal in our cover. Oh, this is coming out. I don't want that to happen. And actually, we can probably take this off for this step. Yes, we can. Yeah, because it doesn't have to be glued yet. All right, so where is the center of this? I know. Ruler math. All right, that's my center. Okay, and I'm going to eyeball this to there. Now, I can keep this attached just to see where it's going to lie. So I know that this is going to go there. All right, so that's where I want it. Just mark that. I'm going to cover this anyway, so I don't want this crease to be on the card, okay? I want it to be, you see how there's that valley there? I want to make sure that that valley is just slightly over my cover because I want it to be able to fold. So when I glue it, that's what I want to do. I'm just using a pencil to line this up while I get my glue. And then I'm going to glue this side down. Now, I'm sure there's a bunch of people watching me going, you are taking the hard route, DJ. And I probably am, but that's okay, because this is how I work. This is how my brain works. All right, so I'm going to glue this down. I'm going to line it back up to those lines, and I want to make sure that that valley is on the other side of my cover, like that. Okay, so that's there. Perfect. And now I can start lining up my pages. Okay, so we're going to slip them all on. Like so. And this is why I said you might want to watch, because we're going to have this thing in the center of our pages, this accordion tab. But there's ways that I have found to make that to our advantage. And so I'm going to show you some things we can do with that. But in the meantime, we want to finish assembling this. So now we're going to take the next peak and our next page and make sure it's in the upright position. And we're going to put it on that peak. All right, it's a little fiddly, but once you get a rhythm going, you'll be good. Good as gold. All right, that's that one. Close it over. You want to make sure these are all up in there well. And this is what I meant by what you're going to see on the outside and the inside of the spine is the different color paper that you're using. So we'll get these all on, and then I will adjust it. And we'll be able to make some adjustments as we go. So it's not, you know, paramount that right now these are 100%, but you don't want them falling off while you work. So you just want to get them in play. All right. So this is a great little no-sew alternative, and you can make these tabs smaller. As you can see, I made mine 3.5 this way, but you could make them smaller if you wanted to. I just find that what I'm going to do for the inside of the journal, I want them a little taller. Okay, I'm going to finish this up. You finish yours up, and then I will meet you back here. But don't glue anything yet. All right, see you in a few. All right. Now I'm going to put on my back cover the same way I did my front. I'm going to put this piece on the inside, and I'm actually going to take this last page off just to make this a little easier. I'm going to make sure that my covers are lined up. And, all right, so I want it to go here and there. All right, and we'll just put some glue on this tab. And attach it so that the valley is just on the other side. Like so. All right, and I'll put that last page back on. And there we go. And that's our accordion binding. Now, for the inside tabs, so as you can see, well, let me back up. This now lets this lay flat. It stays pretty flat. We're going to glue these in place, so don't worry about these gaps that you're seeing now, because they're not going to always be there. All right, it's just because we haven't glued anything yet. But it will allow you to work flat on this once you have this all in place. Okay, and if you want to make any adjustments, you know, to the way this is laid out, now is the time to do it. Some things that you can do for the inside. Okay, what I like to do, and I'm just going to get some paper to demonstrate it. I like to use these tabs to my advantage and turn them into a space where I can put additional pages into my journal. We don't want to get too bulky, so you don't want to use heavyweight cardstock throughout this or heavyweight paper. I have some copy weight paper that I can use, and I have some tea-dyed paper that I can use, and I have some book page that I can use, which I'll probably use. All right, I'm going to use 2 pieces of this. I'm going to make a page in between and a pocket in between. So let me cut this. I'm going to cut it just shorter than the journal page. Okay, like so. And now I'm going to fold it in half. Okay, so long as half will get me inside the page. All right, if I fold this in half, I don't want it to be much bigger than my page. I actually want it to fall kind of within my page. So I'm going to just trim a little bit off. Okay. And now what I can do is I can glue this to this page, to this tab rather. And when I do that, I can glue down the side and across the bottom, and then this becomes an inner pocket, okay? And that's how I can keep this together because it'll be glued, and it will allow me an extra space for a pocket. And I'd probably make this a little shorter because it's going to be a pocket and we need to put something in and out of it. So do something like that. Okay. Like so. And then I can put a little punch there. I'll glue it. See how it's attached to both sides of the tab? Now you don't know that the tab is even there. So that's one option. Another option is you can take some of the colored papers that you have and cut them just a bit thinner than this here. So this is about a 1/2 inch. And so if I cut a strip of paper that is just a little under a 1/2 inch, like so, and we don't want it any taller than the page, but you do want it to be taller than your tab. Okay, you can take this and you can insert it into this tab. All right, and just kind of maneuver it down there. It'll come out this side. Come on. All right, like that. And then you could put words on here. You could decorate this with, I don't know, what, some kind of embellishment. You could sew this now down here if you want to push that through your sewing machine, but it'll hold just like it is because your cut line is the size of the tab and this is going over. So this actually locks it into place. So you can do something simple like that. The other thing you can do is you can put embellishments on these. So let me grab a butterfly. So I could take, this isn't a good example because of the bottom, but I could take an embellishment and glue it to one side and the other like this. So if I had like a matching pair, and then I make this kind of flip out inside the journal. As long as it's smaller than your page, then it's not so fiddly. And then that will hold it in place. So, oh, and the other thing you can do is you can just cut the tip of this off, the edge of this off. I don't know what happened here. I'm all wonky. Hold on. you can cut the little tip of this off and then glue the sides to each side of the inner page. But, you know, somebody might not like the look of that, so it might not be your jam to kind of, sorry if you're getting blinded by my ring light here, hold on. You know, then you'd have like one piece on this side and one piece glued on this side, and you could put an embellishment over it. We'll do many things with these. I'll show you some options as we play along. But I wouldn't glue them yet unless you really want to. And maybe you're not going to do this binding because it's too fiddly, or you just don't like the aesthetic, or whatever the case may be. And in that case, you can just do a simple 3-hole pamphlet stitch at the end. But I am going to use these to my advantage throughout this journal to kind of use them as a decorative element for my journal. And so that is our binding. And as you can see, once we get these all glued into place, it's going to be a cool little binding on the back. And I can ink that up, you know, kind of make it blend in. And it's a little pale for me, but you get the idea. And then for the inside of my cover, once I decide what I'm going to do, because I may want to incorporate whatever I'm doing into this page, but basically I can glue another page on here and just cover up that first tab. So you don't have to see the tabs. You can completely cover the tabs in one way or another, or leave them out because I think sometimes that's really funky. So up to you. But that's where we are, folks. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it wasn't too kind of all over the place. When, you know, you're learning something new, it's kind of, until you do it the first time, it's a little hard to follow. But once you get hands-on with this, it's super easy. And like I said, as long as, oh, I wanted to show you if you have to add. So let's say, let me get the one that tore. Let's say you're connecting two pieces, right? Because you're making your journal bigger than the sheet of paper that you have. When you bind them together, you know, to make them, extend them, just make sure that whatever side of your paper is going to be the outside that you see here remains on the outside. So if I were joining this one to this one, what I would do is actually probably reverse this and flip this up, and then join it like that, so that on the outside I don't have like a piece like that. Okay, if you're gonna have it on the inside, but it's gonna be hidden behind, so you're really not gonna see it. That's how I would line it up and seam it up. So basically this one will go up, and then this one will go down, and then you just extend it as far as you want, and this becomes one of the peaks for your accordion. Okay, so yeah, and then we'll get on to decorating and doing some fun stuff with this in the next video. So thanks for dropping by and spending time with me today. I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great rest of your day or night. Bye.